Today I'm going to show you how to repot the Monstera Thai Constellation without killing it. You can see I've got it soaking in some water right here, which is a really good tip if you want to loosen up that soil before you repot, because it's going to be much easier for the plant to come out of the soil when it has that soaked soil. So, good little tip to start off with. I'm going to squeeze the sides of the pot. Now you can see this is really root bound right here. We're going to try to pull the roots through. You can also just cut the pot off if you want to. I've made some other videos on how to do that. It's really easy and simple. But for this one, we're just going to pull the pot off, which is another usually perfectly fine thing to do. And I'm just teasing it along. This happens a lot when you get really root bound. Your goal is to hopefully not lose so many roots, but it does happen from time to time. Just wiggling it free, little by little. I'm holding the stem up here and kind of pulling along. You can see them starting to slide through just a little bit. Now we're doing this in We're doing this in early spring. You can see some of these are just going to start to pull right through. We might lose a few, but again, that's not that big a deal. We're doing this in early spring, which is the perfect time to repot most of your plants. When you repot your plants in spring, there we go. We did lose one big root on there, but again, not too big of a deal. It'll recover during the rest of the spring and summer months, which is, again, that's the reason why we repot during the spring and summer, is because we have these long, beautiful days of sunshine to help the plant recover from the repot. Today, I'm also going to be showing you some of the products that I use to help the plant recover. This first one is going to be the Bigfoot mycorrhizae. We're just going to make a little solution of it over in here. I should probably read the directions, but you guys know how I do. I don't usually read a whole lot of them, but you can't really overdo it. So not that big of a deal. We'll just set this aside and let it soak up. Now, the first thing I want to do after we've got it out of the pot is to sort of tease the roots a little bit. It's not important that you get all of the old soil off, but this plant was planted in quite a dense mixture, mostly a peat moss, which you can get away with inside, but I think it's better to repot your plants into something that's a little bit more chunky when you're keeping these plants indoors. This is what the grower uses to grow their plants. And you remember, they're growing in much different conditions than you're growing inside your home. They have a lot of heat because they're growing in greenhouses. They have a lot of airflow. And so it's just more of an appropriate mix for a greenhouse and less appropriate for an actual house. Of course, you can obviously get away with it. This customer has grown a big and beautiful plant with it. But again, we're just going to give a little bit more room for error by planting it in a chunky soil mixture, which is going to increase the oxygen around the roots, which is going to help naturally combat that number one reason people usually kill their plants, which is root rot. So we're just teasing some of this out. Again, you could also do this with a hose. You could take this outside. As long as it's appropriate weather, you could take this out in a full shade scenario and above 50 degrees Fahrenheit and just spray the bejesus out of these roots, and all of this old peat moss soil will sort of fall away. And again, my idea here is not to get this 100% bare root. I'm just removing the bulk of it. And I like to see, you guys have seen how I've kind of teased it from the middle right here. A lot of your roots actually grow on the outside of the root ball. And so when you get right into the center, you can kind of disassemble it or dismantle it from the inside out where there aren't as many roots. And in that way, you lose nearly as many roots as you would by trying to get it from the outside in. So that's another nice little helpful tip. All right, with most of the old soil done away, you can see we got some big handfuls right here. Now we're going to move on to the next step. Now, this is Bigfoot concentrate. And this is a fungus, and I'm just going to put the roots right down in here. I'm just following the directions on the back of the page, or on the back of the package right here, and I'm going to swirl them around. And this is going to help directly inoculate the roots with this fungus. Now, this is fascinating. You're not going to smell this fungus. You're not going to even see it. But right now, when it's coming in contact with the roots, I am ensuring that we are going to have a high inoculation rate, which you can kind of think of as sort of an impregnation of sorts, but for a plant. Mycorrhizae is a fungus that plants have been using for millions of years out in nature to help them combat stress, help them gather more water and nutrients throughout the soil. And when you use it with your houseplants, it's going to help you grow them faster. It's going to keep them healthier. It's going to naturally help you combat root rot as well, which again is the number one reason people usually kill their plants. So now that we've got it nice in a new solution right here, I'm going to, again, set this aside. You can just keep inoculating down there. You can also use this solution to water it in. I actually mix it in with my watering can every couple of weeks. So I'll fill up my watering can, I'll sprinkle in a couple of teaspoons of this, mix it up really nicely, and I actually water my plants with this throughout the year. So I'm gonna go up into a 6-inch pot size. Now you can see this is just increasing the pot size by about an inch. A lot of people will say, well, that's too small of a pot. You're gonna have to repot way too soon. But remember, the #1 reason people kill their plants is because of root rot. Root rot is a stagnation in the soil. So when you water your plant and the soil doesn't dry out quickly enough, that's going to invite fungus to your soil. And that fungus is called root rot. So by keeping your plant in a smaller pot, you're allowing for more airflow, oxygen, and oxygen is the #1 thing that combats the root rot, okay? So a smaller pot is gonna promote more oxygen. A larger pot having more soil, more dense material, more water storing material is going to naturally increase your risks of root rot. So for my money, I would rather have to repot the plant more often, maybe once or twice a year, rather than put it in a larger pot and only need to repot every 2 or 3 years, but increasing my chances of root rot. It just makes a whole lot more sense to me, but I am really comfortable with repotting, so I guess maybe that's the reason why. But a lot of people have had success with this method, and so I always just continue to preach it. I'm gonna be using our aeroid mix right here. You can get this on our Tanner the Planter app if you would like. It's just a really chunky, nice mixture. It's peat moss, it's perlite, it's a little bit of horticultural sand, it's a little bit of actually a different Bigfoot product called Bigfoot Granular, which I use on all of our transplants. And it's got a little bit of orchid bark in there as well. So I'm just gonna put a nice little layer at the very bottom. And of course, I always like to have drainage for my pots as well. And then we're gonna take our roots and we're just going to put them right inside the pot like so. Now this is actually, I got it right on the very first guess. Sometimes you have to guess and check for the appropriate amount of soil to put in the bottom because you actually want this very top crown where these roots are meeting the plant material right here. You want that to be above soil level. Monstera are epiphytes. And so they grow in trees. They grow up the trees. They're growing up the trees so they can compete for light. So this means their roots are just constantly exposed to air because their roots are what's climbing the tree. And so by planting it really high like this in the pot, you are getting a lot more oxygen down into your soil. And again, that's gonna help further combat the root rot. It's a wonderful thing. So now we're just going to backfill. Now it is important that the soil comes in contact with all the roots because the roots or the soil is what's going to be containing the water and the nutrients. It's going to be holding the water and the nutrients. And one really great way to get the soil to settle in and around the roots is to slap that pot. Perfect, that's settling down in there. Now we're just going to continue to top it off. Now this would also be a great time to add a moss pole or a trellis, again, to help the plant just naturally climb as it would in nature. You don't have to, but I highly recommend it. Right now, this plant doesn't have any aerial roots. It has nothing it has no way to climb right now, so I'm not gonna add it this time. But I would say probably by the next repot, maybe next year or so, it should definitely have some aerial roots that would be ready to start climbing. And at that point, you would add a moss pole or a trellis. Again, I have lots of videos on how to do that as well. If you're interested in adding a trellis or a moss pole or a plank of wood, any one of those options into your potting media. Now you can see also, I'm kind of just using my finger to poke some soil down in and around the roots. You can also use a little handy dandy chopstick and you can sort of poke the soil down in and around the roots and you'll find these little gaps that are all over in your soil, and this is going to be helpful in getting it around. This is an old bonsai trick that I learned from watching bonsai people on the internet, really. Continue to backfill into all those gaps. Now the goal is not to fill the pot all the way to the very top. We want to allow for a little bit of space at the top so that we can get the water to kind of pool up and settle in. That's the goal, but this mixture should drain quite quickly because again, it is a very airy mixture or a chunky mixture. The chunkiness, by the way, really just refers to all of the particles are big and chunky like this. And when you have a whole bunch of big chunky particles coming into contact with each other, there's naturally a lot of air gaps, as opposed to something like, you know, sand. You know what happens with sand. Has anyone ever been out on the beach? How you can like drive your car out on a beach? Well, that's because sand particles fit together really, really tightly because they're so small. So it becomes very dense, and the density is what causes a lack of airflow. And so in small amounts, sand is really good for soil amending. It's going to naturally help your plant with that airflow. But when you get a whole bunch of it together, that's when it becomes super dense and it can be problematic. All right, now we have our plant repotted right here. Right now, I'm going to recommend the customer put this plant in bright light, which is 1,000 foot candles of light when you measure it with your light meter. And I'm going to recommend they water when it's about 25 to 50% dry. I'm gonna give the plant a thorough soak now to get it settled in and around the roots again, that soil settled in and around the roots once again, and help it recover from the shock of a transplant. Water is one of those things that's gonna help it recover from shock. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. But also, you guys, don't forget, I wrote a book called For the Love of Houseplants, and if you like learning about plants this way in a really simple and approachable way, it's available anywhere that you buy new books. It was an instant bestseller, so we're very proud of that. But you guys, we do a whole lot of repotting on this channel. If you like to repot your houseplants, or if you need to learn more about your houseplants, follow along, subscribe. We would love to have you here, and we will see you on the next one.